Welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I am your host, Rick Becker, and our co-host, Lori Hintz.
Did you have a good weekend?
I did. I was in the Chicago area visiting some friends, and it was very relaxing.
Very thankful that you didn't get shot. So when you were going to Chicago, all I could think of was 80 people die a weekend in that place.
Yeah, so I stayed out of that area.
That was a good idea, good plan.
Yep. So tonight we've got a great show. We have Rory Gabel coming up in the very next segment. We're going to be talking about some interesting things going on in District 24, particularly with Representative Dwight Kiefert. A lot of drama. We're going to cover that. First, I've got a topic I wanted to discuss, and it is about eviction moratoriums. And so that's in the news because over the weekend,
it just expired.
Right, we had an eviction moratorium, federal eviction moratorium that expired. And pull up the first graphic, if you would, please, gentlemen. And so we have a story from a few days back, actually a week ago. End of eviction moratorium is near, but there's still help in North Dakota. Now, the tone of the title of that article is really kind of what grabs me because, and we'll discuss it more here in this segment, but what help is needed beyond what would normally be needed in any other month, in any other year, because we're basically done with this whole thing, but they won't let go of it. The help they're referring to, at least in that article, is from United Way, and it's for people that are in trouble that aren't able to make their housing payments, which is the same thing that's always been around. Right. Go ahead to the next graphic. In the Supreme Court, there's a very interesting situation here. We'll give a little bit of backstory to it. The Supreme Court has declined to stop federal moratorium on evictions. That was just a few days ago as well. And the backstory to all of this, so we've got, wow, North Dakota, it's ending, there's still help. In Minnesota, they continued the evictions. And so really to kind of pull everything together, the backstory is this. Back during the CARES Act, early in 2020, the Congress passed the CARES Act, and in that included a moratorium on evictions. You could not be evicted. And so it didn't matter, you know, if you couldn't pay rent, whatever it might be. The whole idea was if they can't pay rent, we're in a difficult time here with COVID, landlord, you cannot evict them. Okay, so that was, in my mind, a tremendous overreach. Federally,
agreed.
The government saying that. Then, in September of last year, Trump, much to my chagrin, through the CDC, the CDC enacted effectively a law that placed a moratorium once again on evictions, because the first one that the CARES Act did was from March through July. It was short term, that was it. Trump comes in September with the CDC. The CDC says, hey, you know what? If people are evicted, they're going to congregate in like group housing, and that's going to increase COVID. That will increase deaths. Therefore, we have the power to just say federally, no eviction at all. It can't happen. There's a moratorium. And then that was going to expire, I believe, the end of 2020. Biden comes in and says, let's extend it to March. Then he says, let's extend it through the end of July. So there's this moratorium. The situation is that some of the states, Texas in particular, thank goodness for Texas and their willingness to sue the federal government.
That's all true.
They came in and said, whoa, 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 this is over the top.
Well, it's terrible for landlords. I mean, nobody's even thinking about the landlords here in this.
Well, and the landlords, you know, people like to think, oh, the big man, right? Huge corporate. Well, landlords are people like my dad, are people, just your everyday citizens who have said, you know what, I think a good way for me to have some additional income or some financial security is to have this 4-unit apartment building or this house that I lease or whatever it might be. And the idea that the federal government is going to come in between a contract where someone says, hey, I would like to lease your house. Well, yes, you can. All you need to do is pay me this much money every month. And if you don't, then you can't live here. Okay, I agree to that. Great, I agree to that. We're done. Federal government comes in and says, you know what, not so much. There's a situation we don't want anyone to have to pay, except the landlord still has to pay their bills. Still has to pay their mortgage.
Right.
So this is really gone awry. So the situation is that the state of Texas came in and said, no, we're not going for this. And a district court judge ruled that yes, the CDC extended well beyond their powers. They did a complete overreach, but he said, I'm not going to institute my ruling because I want to let the federal courts come in. And so it went up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that they were not going to lift the ban, which is crazy. So Justice Kavanaugh joined with liberal Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts and the other 3 liberal justices and said, we're not going to lift it. Now, Kavanaugh said, yes, CDC overreached. In my mind, well, that's enough.
Right.
Make your damn ruling.
Yep.
But he said CDC overreached, but here's the thing. The executive branch can't extend it again. They would have to have legislation to have this continue. But we're not going to do anything about it because it's going to just expire at the end of July anyway. And this way, more CARES money will come out, rental assistance will come out, et cetera, so we'll all let this pass. In my mind, that shouldn't be a consideration.
Right.
It's either a correct rule or it's an incorrect rule, and that's the end of the story. But that's just how it went. So we come around to what's going on now, and I think we still have an incredible problem on our hands. Pull up the next graphic. The Cato Institute, which I think is a fantastic organization, came up, and they wrote a wonderful article called "The CDC's Eviction Moratorium is Unconstitutional." And in it, they basically say the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, made it a federal offense for a landlord to use the legal eviction process in state court. It was to actually just file for an eviction was a crime. It was a crime to file.
Wow.
They said that this case that Texas put up that involved constitutional structures of vital importance to individual liberty, which are federalism and the separation of powers. The federal government simply lacks the power to regulate the process of eviction in state courts. So that's not just the CDC.
No.
That's Congress.
Right.
And I agree 100%. They say, accordingly, the unprecedented moratorium is not proper because it denies access to the state courts, it intrudes on the sovereignty of state judiciaries, and it distorts political accountability. Absolutely 100%
Well, when you
true.
say unprecedented, this was by far the first time ever this has happened, wasn't it?
Yes.
That the government intervened and said, no, landlords, you're not getting any money. You know, it's picking winners and losers again. It's the same unconstitutional thing that they were doing with. Well,
it's an incredible overreach, and I blame Trump.
Yep.
And I blame Biden equally.
Yep,
Trump started it.
both,
And I blame Congress for passing in the first place. You can't do that. I know it sounds good. I know it was going to win you votes, probably, but you can't do it. It's beyond your federal powers. Hello.
Right.
Let's pull up the next one. This is causing a little bit of turmoil in the Democrat Party. AOC lashed out at her fellow Dems. See, here's the thing. They had an opportunity because they're in control of the House, at least. And they had the capability, according to Justice Kavanaugh, to extend the moratorium where people can't be evicted legislatively. But they didn't do that. Now, Nancy Pelosi blamed it on the Republicans, but of course that's just pushing off the blame.
That's what she does, though.
And then AOC and Nancy Pelosi are kind of blaming Biden and say he waited, which he did. He waited to say, hey, Congress, please do something about this until the day before they went on vacation. But it's not as if they didn't know.
They knew.
So they're doing their hand wringing. Oh, the poor people that could be evicted. They had it completely in their power. They chose not to do it. So back to North Dakota. Minnesota extended it all the way till June 1st of next year.
Oh, my goodness.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
That is
the question is, why in the world are we allowing this in the state? I know the federal government's doing it, but why would we think for a second that this is good for North Dakota? It completely gets in between. Our economy is doing well. There's no reason that the government should be in between a landlord and a renter. It's the government overreach to an extreme.
Again.
And it takes care of, I like to say what Bastiat and what Thomas Sowell and Henry Hazlitt say, it takes care of the surface, but it doesn't take care of down what's deep. It takes care of what's seen. Oh, people could be kicked out, but it doesn't take what's unseen, which is irreparable harm to the economy. Imagine what it's like to be a landlord and have a renter know that they don't have to pay anything.
Yep.
What do you think is going to happen to the interior of that property?
Exactly.
They don't have to pay a damn thing, and then when it's up, they're just going to leave. The last thing I'll say, we're running out of time, This moratorium, you don't have to be evicted. As a couple, you can make up to $198,000 and not be evicted.
Oh,
how is
Whose
this not
idea
taking
was
us down the
that?
path to socialism? I don't know. But that's all I have for this
That's
moratorium.
a pretty good exclamation point on that story
End
there,
of the
pal.
segment, folks. Stick with us. We are going to be right back with Rory Gabel. Hang with us.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature Heroes, with the region's only Hero meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
Go for Launch 2018 series winner. Without further ado, it is my honors. Reginald. The winning team is the Flumin River Excellent.
Oh my God!
They won!
Welcome back. It's No Apologies. We have Rory Gabel, who is the Vice Chair of District 24 Republicans. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about where District 24 is located in the state. So those that don't know, 24, that means nothing to a lot of people. So.
Around the Valley City area.
Okay. Like north and south and all around?
Yeah, it goes
south?
up to Wimbledon and down to Enderlin, Sanborn, Litchfield, places like that.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I was there in District 24 not too long ago. We had a meal there. It was really good, and you had your reorg meeting, and I was there for that. So that was. People are very, very friendly there. I think they are very, very, very nice in District 24. I always feel very welcome there when I go.
Okay, let's cut to the chase.
Okay.
Enough small talk.
Small talk. We're trying to.
So we covered it a little bit, at least in a portion of one of our segments. Representative Dwight Kiefert, who is from District 24. There's a recall on him, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of hullabaloo. It's very interesting. To me, this is if a legislator is recalled, it's a very district-centric problem. But we have people weighing in on it and trying to make it into something, I think, much more than that. I heard Al Carlson's comments. Various commentators are, whether it's a radio announcer or a opinion columnist or whatever it might be, people are opining all over the place. So, and they've tried to pull me into it, which I am not involved, but I'm interested. So, in your own words, tell us what's happening with the recall of Representative Kiefert. Perhaps let's just start with the technicalities, the timeline.
Start in the beginning.
Yeah, where are we at on this?
Well, I was involved from the beginning. February 5th, I believe it was, I got contacted Dwight Kiefert, and I was upset about his vote not to end the emergency powers of the governor. With the legislature in session, there's no reason for the governor to have the special powers. The legislature can deal with what needs to be done. And then I saw on Facebook another man was concerned too, and that was Shane Anderson. So I contacted Shane Anderson, and we said let's meet someplace and let's talk about this. And he knew some people, and I knew some people, so that's where it started.
Okay.
With about February 5th.
Okay. Now you're gathering. It takes signatures to have a recall election. How many signatures do you need to get?
We need about 1,800 signatures.
About 1,800. And what is the timeline? When do you need the signatures by?
We have 1 year. From the time they approved the petition.
Okay, because he was just elected, correct? Re-elected.
Right. He's been in one session. What's that?
In 2020?
Yes. Well, he was elected in 2012 the first time.
Yep. Yeah, he's been in my class. But he was re-elected in 2020. So you've got a year because he still has 3 years left, essentially, on his term. Okay. And so the recall election, if you get enough signatures, I suppose obviously that takes place depending on when you get the signatures. When are you looking to have it on a ballot?
Well, once the signatures are in and they're verified, then there will be an election in about 90 days.
Okay.
And then candidates, whoever wants to run, can run. Kiefert is automatically put on the ballot. So we can't remove him. It's up to the District 24 voters to decide his fate.
So it's not like in California where there's like a two question of like, should he be recalled and then who gets it? It's just a new election. He's on there, and anyone else who's going to be on there as well.
It's calling for a new election, and he's automatically in it.
Right. Yeah. If this would have been 10 years ago before they changed the House to 4 years, we wouldn't need to do this recall because there would be an election every 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. Now.
So you started in February, and then what happened after that in March?
Well, in March, the Simons issue came up, and that morning I had contacted Kiefert. I didn't tell him to vote yes or no on the expulsion. I just said, make sure Simons gets a fair shake. According to House rules, there's supposed to be an investigation. I mean, that's in writing to have an investigation, and they didn't have one. So we felt that was unfair to expel someone over mere accusations.
Gotcha. So you've got, I guess now, that we'll get to the heart of my next question for you is, why are you doing this? So you had one. You indicated to us earlier that you were unhappy about his vote to not end the state of emergency, which I agree with you.
Right.
I was pushing that at the time I had wanted to end it back in November of 19, but he voted no on that. So you're very unhappy about that, as were other people, and you started talking about something needs to be done. Secondly, the Simons issue came up, and you felt that Representative Simons didn't get a fair shake, procedurally at least.
Right.
Okay. Does that take care of it? Are there other reasons why you're disgruntled, or think that it's only fair for voters to have a second look at whether they want him as their representative?
Well, his attitude towards his constituents, his attitude toward his supporters. I've contacted my District 24 representatives for over 30 years, both Democrat and Republican. I've never been treated as unprofessionally as I have. And others have by Kiefert. So, that was another part that we were upset with him about. Is you just don't act that way. And then what got us upset too is that he has not attended this session in person the whole session. they had a rule in place that if you were sick, you could vote from home. Well, he took that and ran with it. He wasn't sick. He admitted that he wasn't sick. He just didn't want to go to Bismarck. In April, when they lifted the COVID rules, and then you could have guests on the House floor, I took my daughter, and we were guests of Cole Christensen, our other representative. And so my 12-year-old daughter spent more time on the House floor this last session than our elected representative, Dwight Kiefert. That's not representing District 24. We need boots on the ground, not slippers on a couch.
Can you do that? Can you just totally not attend the session? Is that?
The way I understand it, someone had to report him, and no one did. You know, he should have been there, and he just, well, he was bragging about it, that he was going to be the first legislator in the history of North Dakota to have a whole session and not attend it in person. That's not representing District 24.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I think those are all valid reasons for you to be upset and take a look at this. Folks, we are going to come back with another segment with Rory Gabel. Stick with us.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Prairie Patriot Firearms and Training is the region's most complete gun and training center. 5-lane indoor range, a gun shop, and a certified training facility. Firearms training courses are offered daily for new, intermediate, and advanced shooters. If you're not comfortable in a classroom setting, Prairie Patriot offers one-on-one private lessons, from basic self-defense training to concealed weapons testing, along with a full line of guns, ammunition, holsters, and concealment clothing. Prairie Patriot, 3930 Memorial Highway, prairiepatriot.com.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
And we're back. It's No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity. I'm your host, Rick Becker, co-host Lori Hintz, our special guest, Rory Gabel, Vice Chair, District 24. So, Rory, first off, let me say, I just said that this is a local issue, a district issue. So why are we bringing it to the people of the region? And the reason is this, because other talking heads have made it more of a statewide or regional issue rather than a local issue. and they are putting their spin on it because they identify Rory and the other grassroots people. They lump them all in and they say Bastiats. And they do it to try and take everyone down with one word, because they've associated Bastiats with extremism, when in fact these are people all across the nation, as much as all across the state, that are fed up with politicians that don't do their job and don't live up to the platforms they say they represent. So that's why we're doing this. So when we left, you gave me 4 reasons. One is, well, he didn't attend. He just wasn't even there and was even bragging about it. I don't know that, but I'm just saying he didn't attend. But another was that he did not vote to end the state of emergency. That was the very first thing that got you going. He didn't believe in he didn't vote according to due process for Luke Simons. What was the fourth one?
His attitude toward the constituents.
His general attitude, and I've heard that before. Does that sum it up for you? Is there?
Well, that's what those 4 reasons were why we censored him. Okay. And it was after the censor, we wanted to bring him back in the fold, just have a talk with him and hopefully, get a better understanding. And he pulled himself out of District 24. He does not come to any meetings. We invite him to the meetings. We invite him to events. We had a parade in Valley City. We invited him to that to be part of our District 24 float. Mm-hmm. Yes. And he refused and had his own car in there. Then the Independence Day parade in Sanborn, he did the same thing. We invited him again. Still hoping that he would come back in, but he refuses to take calls from our district chairman. He's bad-mouthing our district committee, our members. It's just gotten worse since the censor.
Gotcha. Now I've heard Joel Heitkamp say that he's very conservative. He's very conservative. I've read Rob Port say he's very conservative. I've heard Al Carlson, former majority leader, say that he's far right. I think he might have said far right extremist. I don't know what planet you moved to, Al. But the thing is, we have to be okay with not calling all Republicans conservative. Dwight is not conservative. He has a 55% rating with the American Conservative Union, who ranks and rates all legislators. He's not conservative. It's not a bad word or a strong criticism, a defamation of one's character to say they're not conservative. Conservative has a meaning. Conservatism has a meaning. Many of the Republicans in the legislature are not conservative. It's okay. I mean, I'm conservative. I want my legislators to be conservative. Rory, you want your legislators to be conservative. But it's not that you're a bad person if you're not conservative. But we have to stop pretending that everyone who says they're conservative is. Dwight Kiefert is not conservative. 55% lifetime rating with the American Conservative Union. That's below, well, I'm not even going to name the other ones, but it's below people who are clearly not conservative.
Well, that's right. Mitt Romney's got a 68% from the American Conservative Union, and he's a well-known rhino.
What was your rating?
I have a 94% lifetime rating. It should be higher, but the American Conservative Union is wrong on a couple of bills. I'll just say that. It should be higher. But anyway, 94. If you're in the upper, so the whole thing is, ACU is not perfect. Right. No rating system is perfect.
Right.
But generally speaking, when you know the legislators and you look at their rankings, they've got it right. If you're in the upper third, if you're in the upper 10th, you know you're doing pretty damn good if your goal is to be a conservative. Right. If you're in the bottom 10th, if you're in the bottom quarter, the bottom 10th like Dwight is, you're doing pretty damn bad if you're wanting to be a conservative. So just say you're not a conservative, and then you're actually doing good.
Now, when he was first elected, you were very happy with him and comfortable with him, and did he have rapport with people? And then just as the years have gone on, he's just gotten more distant, or?
Well, I don't know. I was just happy that he wasn't Metcalf and Mueller, our previous Democrat representatives. So I was happy. Anything up from them was a win.
Got it.
But I had a problem a little bit with his attitude. I've been emailing him since 2012, and on the Heitkamp show, he said he called that baloney. Well, I sent Heitkamp the screenshot of my email record of emailing Dwight. So I guess this just focused more attention on to his whole record and everything. He's a big spending, big government Republican. Under him, since he's been in the legislature, the state budget's gone from $10.6 billion to almost $17 billion.
Yep.
And he every time something comes along to grow government, he votes yes. That's not conservative.
Got it.
Well.
So you are going to be gathering signatures only within District 24 people. Only
right.
those people can sign this, and then they're the ones who are going to do the rest of the deal. It's gone through the Secretary of State's, and the language is correct, and you've got all of your T's crossed and your I's dotted that way?
Right. We went to the Secretary of State's website and saw what we needed to do. We sent in the petition. It was rejected because we didn't put signature lines on it, so it was just a little mistake. So we put signatures lines on it. They approved it. They brought it back to us, and we've been collecting signatures for a couple weeks.
Do you have a specific place where people can go if they want to give a signature, or do they just need to find you?
Find me, yeah.
Find Rory, okay. All right, Rory, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate having you on and giving an objective counterpoint to what else is going on in the state with the narrative regarding the grassroots. So thank you very much. Folks, stick with us. We will be back. Freedom Fest interview is up next.
When you're buying windows, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Hi, I'm Jesse with the Window Source. We only sell you the best windows and doors for the best price. Call the Window Source. Just because you pay less doesn't mean you get less.
Calling all first responders. Join us Saturday, July 31st for First Responders Night at the Bismarck Event Center. The Bucks take on the Green Bay Blizzard with a 7:10 p.m. Central Time kickoff, and we'll highlight those who serve and protect our communities. For more information on tickets, visit bismarckbucks.com and download your free general admission ticket today. Saturday, July 31st, it's the Blizzard versus your Bismarck Bucks. See you on the 31st. Go Bucks!
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Could you do us a favor? Beck TV is a finalist for Best Local TV Station in the Bismarck Tribune's Best of the Best. Vote now through August 9th by text or online. Vote for your leader in local, Beck TV.
Welcome back. No apologies. So we're back to a Freedom Fest interview. I had a lot of fun with these interviews. This next one, Leah Southwell, she was a person that came up and offered
Oh, I love
to
that.
interview.
That's
A lot of
awesome.
people did that. I declined on several. But because everyone is willing.
Of course.
But she actually had a great story, and let's just roll with it.
I have with me a special guest, Leah Southwell, field coordinator for John Birch Society. She stopped by the booth here, and fascinating story. Welcome, Leah. Can you tell our viewers just a little bit about John Birch Society, and then I'd love to get right into your story.
Sure. Birch Society started out in 1958. Our founder, Robert Welch, realized that there was infiltration already within this country of the communist socialist movement, and could foresee all the ways that they were going to destroy our culture and our morality and implement their communist causes.
Mhm.
And of course, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, you were considered a crazy conspiracy theorist. And the CIA has admitted that they came up with that term to destroy and to smear organizations like us by calling us conspiracy theorists. We're conspiracy factists. We know the facts on the conspiracy to destroy America. So I'd say the two important factors to understand is the Birch Society understands who we are as Americans, what it is that we should be fighting for, but more importantly, who is it and what is it that we're fighting against. If you don't know both of those, then you really can't wage war.
No.
And so since 1958, we have a publication called the New American Magazine that helps educate people and remind them the good of America.
Yeah, it's a very good
but
magazine.
also who are the enemies and who we need to be opposing and fighting,
Yeah.
and the ideology behind it.
Yeah, I think that John Birch has taken a lot of flack, as you said, for so many years, but even until probably the last, even, we'll say, 10 years,
yes,
where it's sort of, wow, things are really coming to fruition on the concerns about the takeover of Marxist ideology.
Yes.
It really is right at our doorstep.
Yes.
I mean, it's not at the doorstep, it's in the house. We got
Yes.
to try and kick it out.
Yes.
So you have a great story that we had covered on one of our segments a couple months back, kind of what has happened with Chile, and go ahead and let our viewers know your story.
Well, I had tried to convince my two sons for years that they needed to have an international experience. I had lived in Holland for 10 years. And finally, about 8.5 years ago, they decided, yes, we're ready to do this. And I had done all the research. If they ever said yes, I would make the decision of where we would go. And so I studied for 5 years. I believe in freedom and liberty. And according to the Economic Freedom Index from both Cato and Heritage, Chile was the one country that was constantly moving up in the ranks. And by the time we were ready to go, Chile was the number 7th most economically free country in the world.
Wow.
And so for me, it was a pretty no-brainer. The economics were beautiful. The unemployment was very, very low. So with very little money, with no Spanish, no contacts, having never been there before, we often went to Chile, to Santiago, knowing that somehow we'll pull it off.
Wow.
Because this is a good free country and opportunities abound. And so we did quite well. I was able to build a nice business while I was there. And then a year and a half ago, in October of 2019, overnight, massive violent protests began. And very shocking, unlike anything I've ever seen. Anarchy in the streets. The police were getting the snot beat out of them. They destroyed the public transportation system. They were tearing down traffic lights, just completely tied up the whole city. 30% of the supermarkets were raided and looted and rioted or burned. And so it was major chaos. But my biggest concern was a week into it, a massive call for a new constitution arose. And I immediately got suspicious and thought, what is this about? So I started asking people, what specifically is in the Constitution that would cause your problems? And no one could answer me. And yet when the election came, 79% of the people voted away their Constitution and requested a new Constitution. So that then meant that they had to vote for delegates of who was going to write the Constitution. Because, you know, we the people are so smart at being able to decide who could actually write a Constitution. So the left knew this quite well. The hardcore Marxists who were pushing all of this knew that they could never get elected if they ran as Marxists. And so they ran as independents. And they knew that the electorate would just say, we don't want hard right, we don't want hard left, we'll just vote straight down the middle. So that's what the people did. They voted straight down the middle, the independents, and the left massively won. Between 20 to 25% of the people are from the right, and all the rest are leftists, independents, or hardcore communists who are in the process right now of rewriting their constitution. So the shock and the horror of a very successful nation that was thriving, that had gone from being one of the poorest to one of the wealthiest, pretty well voted away their prosperity in the hopes of something better, because they didn't have the education and the knowledge of how they got to where they were and what free market economics actually had brought to them. And so they saw capitalism as the cause, and they had been brainwashed to believe that capitalism was the cause of all of their problems, even though they didn't have enough information to even base that on anything.
My understanding is that the Marxists or the leftists did what we see them doing here in the U.S. with class warfare, division, the whole paradigm of oppressors and victims, and created everyone into this victim sort of culture to rise up against the oppressor. And so they just took everything down, and with it, one of the best economic societies that we had at the time.
And just as you said, here in the U.S., race is being used more. In Chile, it was total economics. And so the wealthy had gotten very, very wealthy over the success of this nation, but everyone did. They went from 70% poverty to 7% poverty. So did they get as wealthy as the wealthy? Of course not. But everyone in the country is better off than they would have been if free market economics had not been brought.
I'm sure it's another example that over that economic period of prosperity, that the income inequality probably rose, but the standard of living skyrocketed for everyone, and for poverty to drop down that precipitously shows how irrelevant income inequality is.
It's phenomenal. And those that prospered so well created huge businesses that are being given jobs for everyone. Their unemployment rate was, before all this started, one of the lowest anywhere. When we arrived, it was below 5%, which is complete employment. So they didn't understand how they got there, and they were, through envy, taught that they are being oppressed by those who are benefiting off of the back of their hard labor, and were not taught the reality of what they have. And so it's easy for the people to vote away their rights. In this case, it was a people's referendum. And what makes us think that we couldn't have calls for a people's referendum? And what would happen if we were to have a people's referendum right now? How many people believe that our Constitution is bad? It was written by slave owners and
That's true.
capitalists and obviously people who didn't understand that we would go beyond muskets, and the Second Amendment couldn't possibly be about self-defense. It was about hunting and agriculture.
Right, and you're exactly right. So on at least some degree, what played out in Chile is playing out in the U.S. At least to some degree. More so probably in the urban areas, I suppose.
Yes, and one thing I want to mention, the evidence of this, that we were following the same pattern, when I came back and started giving presentations, and 9 months later it broke out here in the U.S. I was looking at my pictures, and on all of the graffiti in Chile, you see ACAB in Chile. Do you know what ACAB is? All cops are bastards. And
really?
Then I got to thinking, I had a business teaching English, and I thought only 6% of the population even speaks English. Why would they have been writing ACAB in Chile and here in the United States when they don't even speak English? It's part of the playbook. It's part of the playbook. You have to take out the police in order to implement Marxism. And so that really showed me that, gosh darn it, everything I was witnessing in Santiago is what we're seeing here happen too. We're following the same pattern.
Well, I hope, it sounds like Chile may be too far gone, that they're going to have to go through a period of some very tough times. But I hope that in the United States, we are seeing, with the benefit of your insight and so many others, we're seeing the direction we're headed, and we're not, in my opinion, over the cliff yet, but we are probably extremely close.
I have to give you one more story,
Yes.
and that is in my trying to understand what is going on here in Chile. I just don't understand what they're protesting about. I went to my very many Venezuelan friends who were living in Chile. Why are there so many Venezuelans living in Chile? Because they lost their country.
Yeah.
So the best and the brightest get sent out to earn money to save the people back at home.
Sure.
So I asked them, what is going on? And they say, we know exactly what's going on. And I said, tell me. And they said, this is exactly how it started in Venezuela. Exactly how. I said, okay, so you know what's coming next. What are you going to do about it? You already lost your country. Now you see you're about to lose the second country you invested in.
Yeah.
And they said, we're trying to warn the Chileans. And I said, and what do they say? They say the same thing that we told the Cubans who came and warned us, which is, we're not Cuban, we're not stupid, we would never let this happen here. And so the Venezuelans didn't believe the Cubans who warned them, and now the Chileans are not believing the Venezuelans who came and warned them.
Yep.
And now I'm warning, and the Chileans could soon be warning the U.S., and the U.S. is going to do what?
Same thing.
The same thing. We're going to say that would never happen here.
Right. Wow. If that does not give you goosebumps, I don't know what will. Leah, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure having you on. I know our viewers loved it, so thank
Great.
you.
Thank
Have a
you,
great
Rich.
rest of the show.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Yeah. Viewers, schmewers. I loved it. It was so good.
Yeah.
She
that
was
was a
fantastic.
very, very nice surprise of an interview. She did great. So smart, succinct, to the point. And that last bit she told about.
Yep. That's
I said if
like,
it doesn't give you goosebumps, because when I was sitting there, I did get
yeah,
goosebumps.
and same here. I mean, that was the first time I'd heard it too. But my favorite takeaway from that is conspiracy factus. I'm totally using that from now on. I'm using that from her. That was fabulous.
Yeah, but
Leah, thank you.
It's it can happen here. We all say it can't happen here, but it's exactly like she said. Cuba to Venezuela to Chile.
Yep. To U.S.
All right, folks, we're going to be back, and Lori's got a Mike Lindell related topic for us.
I do. Stick with us.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all. Spas, etc.
You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you could pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
it's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome back. It's our final segment. Lori, it's all yours.
All right.
Take it away.
So
Take it away. Take it away now.
The deal is everybody probably knows Mike Lindell as the My Pillow guy, and he has actually started to branch out a little bit from pillows. Not going to lie, he's into towels and sheets, and also now there is Lindell TV. Did you know there's Lindell TV? There's Lindell TV, and he also has his own platform, which is called frankspeech.com.
I did hear that.
You did hear about Frank Speech.
Yes.
Okay, so Frank Speech is, but he is also now promoting and hosting a cyber symposium. And it is about a week away. It is the 10th, 11th, and 12th of August, and it's going to be held in South Dakota. It's going to be streamed for like 72 hours. He's doing this cyber symposium. Now, the site announcement says the symposium is not open to the public. So that's kind of, I think people think that, oh, we can all go to the symposium. That's not how it is. It says invitees include current politicians, cyber experts, and the media. And he is, in addition to promoting the cyber symposium, offering an actual reward. $5 million reward to anyone who can refute the facts he's going to present at the symposium. So he's like laying it on the table. It's like, you know what? You want to tell me I'm wrong? I'll pay you if you can prove it. So that's super cool. So he says on frankspeech.com, a $5 million prize will be offered to any attendee who can prove that this cyber data is not valid data from the November 2020 election. So obviously he wants to promote this event using television, but this is where things get a little dicey. So let's start with the Daily Mail article. In this, it says that Mike Lindell is pulling his ads off of Fox. He pulls ads from Fox News after network refused to run commercial linked to claims of 2020 voter fraud. So the deal is MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell has pulled his company's ads from Fox News after it refused to run a commercial linked to claims of voter fraud in the 2020 election. Lindell, who is age 60, told the Wall Street Journal that he asked Fox News to run a commercial promoting the cyber symposium he plans to live stream next month. The staunch Trump ally told the outlet that the commercial wouldn't specifically mention claims of election fraud. However, he said the symposium will prove the 2020 election was stolen from then President Donald Trump. So that's a little, I mean, it's the same thing. All right, so on the next slide, I talk about Fox News confirmed to dailymail.com that the network had refused to run the commercial. It's unfortunate Mr. Lindell has chosen to pause his commercial time on Fox News, given the level of success he's experienced in building his brand through advertising on the #1 cable news network, a Fox spokesperson told dailymail.com. Advertisements for MyPillow, however, were still running on Fox News. As of late Thursday night, it was not immediately clear when the ads will stop running. So last check, they were still running on Fox, but they're not going to for this symposium. So what does he do? He's like, well, you know, maybe I can find another location to advertise. So, and that's a lot of ad dollars, by the way. I mean, if you've ever, and you know, we have his ads on our program as well, but Mike Lindell still needs to advertise. So then a Newsweek article comes out. And this time, Mike Lindell is doing War Room with Steve Bannon. They're sending viewers, get this, in this video, over to MSNBC, which I can't even, I literally can't even get over this because this is so I'm not going to show you the video. You can look it up and find it because they're doing it. But the headline on this one, this is from the other, the Newsweek article. So this says, would you show the, thanks. Mike Lindell, Steve Bannon urge supporters to watch MSNBC over Fox News because it has better coverage. This kills me. All right, so Mike Lindell, again, CEO of MyPillow, and Steve Bannon, former White House chief strategist under Republican President Donald Trump, have urged their supporters to start watching MSNBC rather than Fox News. They said that MSNBC has better coverage. You know, I don't know about you. The bottom line here, this is so funny to me because I just don't see it happening. So go to the next slide, please. The two supporters made their comments during an interview on Bannon's War Room, a show on Real America Voice, a right-leaning media network. Watch Chris Hayes or Rachel Maddow. I'm like, are you kidding me? Bannon told his audience they get better coverage every day. He said, if you listen to the clip, it says they're blowing us up, and it sounds like off, but they're blowing us up, and they hate you in the audience, but they're still doing coverage, Bannon said of MSNBC. So the bottom line here is that this has a lot more to do with displeasure aimed at Fox than it does with an endorsement of MSNBC. The article goes on to say that since the election, Newsmax, One America News, and Real America's Voice have increasingly positioned themselves as media outlets that are more conservative and further to the right than Fox News. What has happened to Fox News? Now, just late this afternoon, I read another story that said that CNN is reportedly airing Mike Lindell's Cyber Symposium ad, and Fox won't even talk about it.
What in the world?
What is going on? This is just like bizarro world. I just thought this was such a bizarre story because I'm like, seriously, I can kind of understand him pulling the ads. That makes sense to me. If you're not going to air what we want you to do, we'll just pull them. But then you're going to go to MSNBC and CNN, and you're going to advertise. So my thought immediately was the audience for these two different shows are going to get this conspiracy theorist stuff, right? And on who's going to watch that? It's going to be a completely different audience who's probably never seen it before. So
that's crazy.
It is super crazy. So a little background from Newsweek. Lindell's claims that machines from Dominion voting systems flip votes from Trump to Biden during the 2020 election compelled the company to file a $1.3 billion defamation suit against the Pillows businessman. So you knew about that in February. What you may not know is that Lindell then countersued the company for $1.6 billion in April, claiming that their lawsuit violated his constitutional rights to free speech.
Wow.
I know, right? Crazy stuff.
Over the top.
It's crazy. So, all right, next time we are going to talk to an attorney from Institute for Justice. Just tossed my pen. And also we're going to have another interview from FreedomFest. So,
Yes, indeed.
All right, so we'll see you soon.
Tune in tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.